Nanette Tausenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, October 23rd, 2020. There's quite a bit going on over the next few days as we have a cold front moving through the area. Today we are expecting some snow showers across the higher terrain of central Idaho and western Wyoming. And moving further south, we will see some pockets of gusty winds with critically dry relative humidity. So moving to Saturday, that area of gusty winds and low relative humidity will expand. We'll see a pretty large chunk of Utah that will see winds in the 35 to 50 mile an hour range. So pretty strong winds tomorrow, along with really low relative humidities across much of Utah. Then into northwestern Nevada, we're looking at an area with gusty winds, a little bit higher humidity, and then moving into Idaho and far northern Utah, we will see an expanded area of precipitation with snow in the high elevations. Moving to Sunday, we'll see a really significant drop in temperatures. High temperatures on Sunday will be in the 30 to 40 degree range across much of Idaho and really cool across the area in general. Relative humidity will be quite dry across the far southern part of the Great Basin, where we will also see gusty winds with those really dry relative humidities. Not a lot showing up on the fire activity map. We still have a couple of large fires across the Great Basin, but not too much new on the map today. ERCs continue to remain quite high across much of the Great Basin. It's been incredibly dry. We haven't had significant precipitation across the central or southern part of the area for quite some time. So ERCs are in that 80 to 96 percentile across parts of Utah, which is pretty unusual for the time of year. If we take a look at the trends, the good news is that those ERCs are generally trending down, and we will continue to see a drop in ERCs with cooler temperatures. Satellite this morning shows a really broad low pressure system in place across the northern United States, with the disturbance moving through the Great Basin today. So for today, we don't have any high risks on the map for wind. We'll see lighter winds today than what we saw yesterday. If we look at those winds in more detail, again, you can see some gusty winds in the forecast across the central Idaho mountains. Relative humidities there will be generally above critical conditions. We are looking at the potential for some isolated wind gusts in the 25 to 35 mile an hour range across the Uintas and down into the central Utah mountains. So that could impact the East Fork fire today. Temperatures today will generally be in the 40 to 50 degree range across the northern and central part of the Great Basin, and then much warmer further south ahead of that cold front. As we move into Saturday, another weather disturbance begins to move through the area. We see a stronger cold front begin to move through the Great Basin, and with that we will see a pretty broad area of gusty winds and low relative humidity across Utah, Nevada, and the Arizona Strip. Looking at winds tomorrow in more detail, really pretty strong winds are in the forecast. You can see 35 to 45 mile an hour wind gusts there, with some areas seeing 50 mile an hour winds. So really strong winds tomorrow, looking at critically dry relative humidities across much of central Utah, Nevada, and into the Arizona Strip. Temperatures will continue to cool down across the northern part of the Great Basin behind that cold front tomorrow. Moving into Sunday, that low pressure system strengthens and begins to move south into the Great Basin, continuing to push that cold front south. We will see an area of gusty winds and critically dry relative humidity across far southern Utah, Nevada, and the Arizona Strip on Sunday. Looking at the forecast in more detail on Sunday, again, gusty winds across much of the area, but really the main concern is across the far south, where we will see those critically dry relative humidities. And much cooler on Sunday. You can see now into Utah and Nevada, high temperatures in the 35 to 45 degree range. So a pretty significant cool down moving into Sunday with really cold temperatures across the northern part of the Great Basin. Then moving into Monday, as that low continues to shift south out of the Great Basin, not looking at really any critical conditions on Monday with much cooler temperatures. However, we will see exceptionally cold temperatures moving into Monday. That's our Monday maximum temperature forecast, and you can see even into the southern part of the Great Basin by Monday, high temperatures in the 40 to 50 degree range. So moving to Tuesday, looking at a pretty similar pattern. Northerly flow across the area will keep temperatures cool. Much drier air moving into place on Tuesday. That trend continuing on Wednesday with that northerly flow. Temperatures will slowly begin to rebound as it looks like high pressure begins to build into the area, but still looking cooler than normal, at least through Wednesday. And then into Thursday, as we start to see that high pressure build, we will see a warming and drying trend across the Great Basin. But after so many days of cooler and more humid conditions, not too much of a concern yet into Thursday. Over the next 7 days, there is the potential for some precipitation as that cold front moves through the area over the next few days. However, there's quite a bit of difference in the models as far as how much precipitation we will receive. This paints a pretty optimistic picture. This would be great for central and southern Utah, the southern part of the Great Basin where things have been so dry. If we look at how two main weather models are forecasting precipitation over the next 7 days or so, you can see some pretty big differences here. The image on the left is from the European model. You can see much wetter forecast in the European model compared to the GFS, which is the image on the right. Fortunately, things have been trending a little bit drier, more similar to the GFS, and so it's not expected that we will see as much precipitation as we're looking at in the European forecast. So expecting generally drier conditions than what we saw in that previous forecast image slide. Finally, the 8 to 14 day outlook, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for generally drier and warmer conditions than normal. So whatever precipitation we see with this cold front moving through over the next few days is probably it for the next few weeks. So that's it, unless there are any